and how Kilbirnie Park fits into this picture. We will then outline the Kilbirnie Park Master Plan that was completed last year. This planning work looked at the whole of the Kilbirnie Park area and developed a vision to guide the upgrade and development of the park over time, including the integration of a new skate park and a relocated play space, along with supporting open space improvements. And then finally, building on the master plan work, we will provide an overview of the skate park concept design work that has been progressing over the last several months. This work is informed by that broader master plan, but it dives into more detail around the skate park itself and how that skate park integrates with the wider park and all the other uses, activities and facilities located there. So I'll now hand over to Chelsea, who will take us through the update in a bit more detail.
Welcome. Sorry, this will hopefully be quick to end the day off on a high note. Just wanted to let you know that this is an update. We're not asking for any decisions now. So yeah, just drawing your attention to the background for this project. So noting that it sits within the wider skate program. This has been informed by prior strategic planning and policy, and a key piece of this work was the Skate Community Engagement Report. So this found that there was a significant underinvestment in skate compared to other sports and recreation activities, looking at other regions and cities of a similar size. So some of the key findings from the Skate Engagement Report related to asset management was, one, that there was a gap in skate provision, particularly for a regional scale park for Wellington, but also that there is a need to address an underinvestment in terms of renewal and maintenance for our skate. So this project specifically focuses on addressing that gap in provision, and this began with a feasibility study. So this feasibility study was undertaken in 2022, and following this, we undertook some master planning work in 2023. So a key focus for the project has been a focus on youth. So what we found from the 2021 Children and Young People strategy was that they want easy access and provision to skate facilities and places to safely hang out. Another key thing is that 60% of respondents noted that they currently like to spend time with their friends in parks and outdoors, but they currently don't feel like they have spaces that specifically cater to them. So coming to our master planning work and thinking about the skate park project, this was pretty important given the number of facilities that we have at Kilbirnie Park, which is the preferred location for the skate park. And a key reason for this is due to the number of schools in the area, but also the significance of the facilities. So we have a lot of users of the park already, and so really utilising that is a huge opportunity. The master planning work was informed by Te Whaioranga Poniki, and that really contributed to some of our key project benefits. I'm just going to quickly flick through some of the outcomes from the master plan, but I've given you a brochure so that you can have a look at those in more detail. It's also available on our online project page, so you can have a look there and provide that to any communities that are interested. But I'm just going to direct your attention to the 4 key moves, which you may have heard of previously. So the first one is consolidating existing assets at the park. So a key part is consolidating the car parking to enable us to unlock potential space for other amenities and open space opportunities. Another one is producing a path network that focuses on improving accessibility within the park. So there's a bit of a mishmash of assets at the moment. Nothing's really connected up, and so there's an opportunity for bringing the park together. Another key move is creating open spaces that reflect the destination facilities that we have at the park, and providing open spaces for people to recreate and play. So that includes the skatepark investment and a loop track around the fields. Lastly, looking at connecting with the identity of the park and reflecting the cultural narrative of mana whenua, particularly relating to Akotangi Pā and the historic shoreline, looking at where the water used to flow before the land was reclaimed. In 2023, we did engagement on these key moves and the preferred concept option, and we had 74% in support or strongly in support. And so that gave us confidence to proceed with that concept option. Finally, drawing your attention to the final concept, which was informed by this engagement. So this aims to utilise the existing funding allocated to the project and really incorporates these key moves. So you can see in the pink, that's where the skatepark is looking to be located, and orange is where the play renewal intends to be located. We also looked a little bit longer term to make sure that the things that we do now don't hamstring us for future projects and future potential. A key aspect to consider is the degasification project, which has received funding through the long-term plan, making sure that what we do now doesn't inhibit anything that's required for that project. So we've set aside specific area for where that plant room can be located. Another key consideration, thinking longer term, thinking about transport projects that might crop up in the future. We want to make sure that we have an understanding as to what we might need to do in order to respond. So for example, State Highway 1 may receive an expansion, and that would take up some space within the park. So thinking about where we locate our assets in response to that. But bringing your attention to the short term, what we are doing now. So we have funding allocated through the 2024-34 long-term plan, and that is including construction starting in 2025 and in 26. So that is some Plymouth funding with specific aspects related to that bequest, such as open space and beautification works. We've got funding for the skate park, but also with the playground renewals budget, there is money allocated for the play space because that has reached the end of its current life. And so we're looking to relocate that as part of this project. Just flicking past that part of that scope, so that really outlines some of those key things that we're looking to address with this project. In terms of the progress we've been making, we have procured Convic as the skatepark specialists, and as some of you know, we had engagement with the community. It was specifically skate-focused engagement, and Convic led that mahi, as well as the concept design. We had members of the Wellington Skateboarding Association on the procurement panel, and that gave us confidence with the mana that that company has with our skate community. And so, yeah, we had several different engagement activities, including some public workshops, some focused sessions with local schools, and also a wahine and takatapui focused feedback session. And so that's really informed where we're at now with the concept design. Not only did we find out what we needed to deliver in terms of skate provision, but also thinking about surrounding amenities that are really important to making sure we get this right. And part of that includes lighting for the skate parks that we can really utilise outside of, at all times of day, including into the evenings. And so a key focus for the concept so far is focusing on a wide range of different users, including thinking about accessibility and catering primarily to intermediate skill level, but also making sure we're allowing for beginners and first-time users. But also providing some chances for progression. And so that's something that we found through the engagement. The skatepark specialists have also been working directly with the cultural designers appointed by Taranaki Whānui And so we've been making some progress on how the cultural overlay will be integrated into the skate park and the wider park. And so part of that looks at how we can celebrate the landform and how it's changed over time, and how we can celebrate the existing shoreline prior to reclamation. As I mentioned, we've got some key other projects that we need to consider, and so we're working with relevant project managers for making sure all considerations are taken into account for the degasification project for the Regional Aquatic Centre, but also the earthquake strengthening project for the Kilbirnie Recreation Centre, which is really closely located next to the skate park. So this is actually a good opportunity for co-use of facilities with the wheeled-based recreation centre and the outdoor skate park. Some other considerations, the contaminated land and geotechnical considerations, and so incorporating that into the budget early. So we've engaged some specialists to help inform that cost estimates, which is where we're at in the process now. So what's next? Essentially, we're finalising the concept plans, and we'll be progressing with procurement for the next stage for developed and detailed design, with construction in 2026 estimated to begin. So that was hopefully a quite quick run through for you, and yeah, opportunity for any questions.
Kia ora, Chelsea, thank you. First Partai, Ben McNulty.
Kia ora. Not to play designer, but in that previous slide with the roof over the park, is that conceptual or is that definitely something that we're looking at doing?
That is a skate park in Dubai. This is not the concept that we've
I was just thinking that
landed on.
A roof like that just was asking to be blown away and storm damaged.
Yeah,
so.
No, not suitable for Wellington.
No, good, thank you.
Councillor Free.
Oh, hi. Look, I just actually got a bit sidetracked, and I know this is not your main thing, but where are all these buildings being relocated? It's part of the little brochure here. So can you just outline what we're clearing out of the way to make room for the skate park?
So there won't be any buildings that will be relocated. A main focus is relocating the car park, and that'll essentially, at the moment, there's multiple different car parking areas that are really inefficiently laid out in kind of some weird shapes and sizes. So what we're looking to do is to consolidate that into a square shape to get as many cars into a smaller space, so that provides extra space for our open spaces rather than having sprawling car parks blocking pedestrian access through the site.
So where are they going to be, the new car parking area? Is that off Kilbirnie Crescent?
So that is off Evans Bay Parade.
Oh, okay.
So the main car park that we're looking to have is just south of the sports fields, between the sports fields and the proposed skate park. There is some existing car parking that would be retained along Kilbirnie Crescent for the pool and also for the hub.
Okay. And are you planning to put a sort of more of a direct pathway through the whole area?
Exactly, yeah.
But will that conflict with car parking?
So a key part of the design has been to minimise the amount of conflict with the car parking. So the north-south connector would run along the edge of the car park and down, connecting up the Regional Aquatic Centre with the Recreation Centre, and then also a east-west connection north of the car park and south of the sports fields to connect in across the park.
Okay. And the Plunkett's rooms, is that part of this? Is that happening at the same time that they're being relocated?
That's a really good question. So that hasn't been decided yet. We're currently working through the options for that and looking at what the costings will be for the project and whether that will be in budget or not. But we're working directly with Plunkett around what their needs might be and where they can be best located in the suburb.
And then, thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor.
Okay,
We've just got a few on the list to put you back. Councillor Pennant.
Thank you. So sorry, the car parks will be the same number.
Yes, we're looking at providing about the same number of car parking.
Can I suggest you reduce the number?
No, people need to go to that hydrotherapy.
Excuse me, are you an officer? I just suggest that the young people using this might want to get on the bus with their skateboards, because they're concerned about climate change. Okay, yeah, well, that's just, it is a serious...
It's definitely a consideration.
It is a serious problem. The community playground and the young people hangout, I presume that's quite separate because sometimes, the small kids need a space that is theirs.
Yeah, we're looking at zoning options. So you can't see that in this drawing here, but we're looking at how we can have some separation between the skate park and the place for the younger kids, and having some clear separation there. So that's something that we're working through.
Okay, that's cool. And just the biggest question really is around resilience. So I've had a bit to do. This area is highly flood prone. So obviously there's some other work to be done around that. But what's your thinking about protecting that skate park when it does flood?
That's a good question.
I saw that, but it just didn't. Celebrating the original shoreline might be a bit problematic in a time of climate change.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily mean that literally. The skate park itself is in an area located that's slightly higher relatively in terms of levels than the rest of the park. So looking at how we can have runoff into rain gardens and things like that, particularly as part of the car park. And so we've had a water sensitive urban design report initially prepared for the project, and we'll be continuing with that consideration.
Yeah, it's already a bit of a rain garden if you play any sports on there at the moment. So if we can incorporate that into some cool wetland type things, it would be cool as. Councillor Brown.
Just a question, or two questions. The first one is, as I understand it, the plan is to increase the width of State Highway number 1, and that is going to encroach on Kilbirnie Park. And are you aware of that? Has that factored into your plan?
Yes, so we've considered that we've called it the 30+ year plan, but we don't know when that could ever or would happen. So essentially, you can see that up on the plan on the screen there now. So that looks at the indicative widths that we've been provided with at this stage, and it reduces the number of the cricket pitches that can be provided at the park when State Highway is expanded. So that won't be in your handout, but
so the related question is that I've been in conversation with the Eastern Suburbs Cricket Club. They do not wish to move. They wish to retain their club rooms adjacent to their sports ground, as does the St Pat's Soccer Club, because that ground is used for cricket and soccer. Is there any particular reason you could think of why retention of club rooms roughly where they are now would be problematic? I can see your point about consolidation, but they don't want to be consolidated. They want to retain their own identity close, adjacent to their ground. Is there any particular reason why that is in conflict with this?
Mostly because the State Highway would run through that building.
No, they've taken that. They're actually, because they're expecting compensation from NZTA, so they obviously have been in conversation with NZTA. They're aware that that is likely to happen sooner than 30 years. And they're anticipating compensation.
Councillor Brown, we're just keeping it to questions. But
that's my question. Yeah. My question is there anything about their plan to actually retain their club rooms roughly where they are now, compatible with the State Highway? Is there a problem?
The main issue is making sure there's enough space for the sports fields themselves. So when it gets encroached from the north, it really constrains how much space there is for playing. And so the leases officers have been in contact with the club about that.
Thank you.
Councillor Rogers.
I realised a lot of my questions are similar to Councillor Pannett's, but I was just looking at the designs, and I guess you talked about the water-sensitive urban design. Does that result in a neutrality in terms of the permeable surfaces now and post-development?
That's a good question. We have that as one of our measurable project benefits, and it's something that we're looking to have as a minimum.
Cool. And then the other one around the water aspect was, I noticed there was parts of having retention within the play area, but also perhaps some daylighting of some streams, and just what the work program was in terms of working with the local catchment groups around where those should be and sort of what the ecological impacts would be, as well as the, built environment impacts.
Yeah, so in terms of the master plan actions, some of those aren't feasible at this stage. So particularly for the opportunity for daylighting, that's not currently viable, particularly because of the impact on the Marist St Pat's sports fields on Evans Bay Park. And that's just been something that's identified as a really long-term opportunity that would be considered at a later stage.
Can I ask one more? The last one was around the active pathways and whether the numbers from 1 to 14 were in priority order at the moment.
They're not in priority order.
Cool. Yeah, I was just, perhaps similar to Councillor Pannett's point, was looking at number 14 in terms of increasing that connection to, that massive bus stop and people's ability to get there easily. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Cool. I have Councillor Free back on the list if you've got more parts.
My question was about the playground. Currently, it's a very small one associated with the Plunkett. Is it planned to do anything with that, or is just leave it where it is, or what's the plan?
So the area where Plunkett Play Space is currently located in the local, it is in our plans and policies a community scale play space, but in actuality is quite small and is a local scale. So we're looking at increasing the size of the play area to accurately reflect that policy. And so that would be fully relocated, and we wouldn't be retaining the existing equipment most likely, due to the fact that it's end of its life and is most likely not compliant anymore or safe. But with those play space renewals, we do assess them to see if there's anything that can be reused, but often it can't. We found through the community engagement that current location is not ideal.
Quite shady.
It's quite shady. It's also wedged between two roads, and it doesn't have a nice feel to it. So yeah, we have made the decision to relocate it and have it more centralised.
So where is it likely to be relocated to?
It's the orange colour to the west of the skate park.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah,
I can see that now.
And
Thanks.
so yeah, that southern corner would be essentially make good with some improved pathways, planting and that kind of thing to help to make it a more accessible and inviting space from the southern corner when you're coming from the bus stops and from the town centre and things like that. But we do have an action in the community facilities plan that looks to, in the future, investigate the feasibility of combining the community centre with the rec centre and the library as a potential hub, and so we don't want to invest too much in that southern corner at this stage to make sure that we're not inhibiting what could happen with those facilities, given that they're not necessarily currently fit for purpose.
Are you talking about spot 4? I don't know. I'm looking at so many different maps here. I'll ask you later. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Alexi, Chelsea and Sherilyn. I just really wanted to mahi to you. I've seen a lot of your meetings up and around the ward, and speaking for Councillor Brown and Free, we've been super involved and just super appreciate the feedback. I also hear this is some of the first time that Convic has done like consultations with takatapui and queer people as well, so I just want to mahi to that because I know that you're leading in this space around skate development, and obviously I'm very keen on it too. Thank you all. We have reached the end of today's session. Really appreciate coming to talk to us. Thank you.